Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present Destiny, Texas by Brett Cogburn. Narrated by Richard Ferrone as Argyle, Brian Hutchison as Hamish, Kevin Orton as Gunn, and Lee Aaron Rosen as Joseph. Part 1. Hamish. Chapter 1. Somewhere along the Little Wichita River, 100 miles beyond the frontier, state of Texas, 1866. Gunn and I rode the lead oxen, him on the big gray, and me beside him with my scrawny legs dangling down either side of the motley-colored steer Papa called Speck. Gunn had his freckled nose wrinkled, and his eyes squinted against the far horizon like he always did, as if he were more than 12 years old, and leading the wagon train himself, as if he could look into all that distance before us and see something that I couldn't. Gunn always thought he was bigger than he was, and maybe that was because Papa doted on him so. It wasn't really a wagon train at all. Just Mama's buggy, 2 wagons, a Mexican cart, 2 milk cows, on one tailgate a crate of fussy leghorn chickens that Mama insisted on bringing, and Gunn's big yellow dog running in and out amongst us all. Old Ben was driving Mama to one side and out of the dust, the brim of his big flop hat tugged down over his face, shading his bushy gray eyebrows against the glare of the sun. Ben was from back in the Alabama times. That's how I was already thinking about what we'd left. Other times. Before Texas. Back before the war, and before Papa came home half dead and found what the Yankees did while he was gone. Black-hearted blue bastards, or what Papa called them. Burned the big white house he built, stole Mama's silverware, broke her fine china, and carried off the split-rail fences for firewood. What they didn't need or steal, they burned or ruined out of pure spite. Everything changes, and a man can't stop it any more than he can stand in front of the wind and make it stop blowing. That's what Mama said. What she said didn't matter, because everybody cried some over our misfortune, except for Papa and Gunn. They never cried. I looked behind us at the pale wagon tracks mashed into the spring grass and wildflowers, until they faded and disappeared the way we had come, leading back to somewhere else, beyond some point of no return, to some other people that looked like us, our forgotten predecessors of a sort in a world we'd quit. Old things were fading and something new took their place. All around us there was nothing in sight that spoke of civilization, and nothing to prove we might exist except those wagon tracks. Just miles and miles of sky, and nothing. You could see forever like a promise or a threat. Nothing and everything. That was Texas for you. I turned the other way and saw Papa riding back to us from the south. I knew it was him because nobody else sat a horse like that. And his horse was easy to spot too. The same long-legged, harebrained thoroughbred that used to carry him along the roads, trading cotton and seeing to the business of his plantation, and the same chestnut gelding that packed him along with General Forrest from Chickamauga to Bryce's Crossroads, where he got shot in the left leg by a blue bastard mini-ball. Nobody rode Shiloh. He was a one-man horse, even if Papa would have tolerated anybody else on his back. "Mama's fussing and wants to make evening camp in the shade," I said to Papa when he rode alongside us. Papa scowled for an instant at Mama's buggy. She was fair-skinned, wouldn't be caught outside without a hat or bonnet, and was used to waiting out the heat of the day on her porch swing or under the high ceilings of the house we used to live in. But Papa knew her buggy would follow along behind him, no matter if he decided we were going to travel past sundown and all night if he wanted to. Old Ben never failed Papa, and Papa didn't have to look behind him to know that old Ben would be bringing Mama along. She could complain all she wanted about Papa's hard-headed Scotsman ways. "You boys get off of those oxen and get your rifles out of the wagon," Papa said. "Hurry up now." Gunn bailed right off and ran for his gun. I hesitated and looked a question at Papa. "Do like I said." Papa's expression made it plain that he wasn't going to tell me again. "Smoke to the south." I noticed for the first time the sooty column of smoke, mixing with the cotton-white clouds in the distance, and didn't ask any more questions. Smoke was bad.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.